In this video, I want to show you how I use my own template to start designing an architectural floor plan. If you're an interior designer, you're welcome to watch this. This material will also be relevant to you. And the purpose is to show you one of the ways to work within AutoCAD once you have a template set up. This is an overview of the template I'm using. In this case, I'm showing you my own workflow and how I organize my template. So let's dive in. So I already have AutoCAD open, and I will start by getting a new drawing, and I'm going to be using my own template. So to start a new drawing, once you have AutoCAD, there's a shortcut you can use Command-N, and that will open the template window within the system. And then from here, I'm going to choose my own template, in this case, JCAD Arc Template. I'm just going to hit Open. And once I do that, I will get a new drawing that is created based on the template. And as you will see, the template already has all the information that I'm going to be using to create my project. I have some blocks here. I have here some of the annotations, and I'll briefly talk about each one of them as I use them. Okay. Now, if you look here, I have something called the drawing area. So I try to draw everything within this box, basically. Okay. And I tell my team members to do the same. I don't want us to go shopping for drawings outside in this area or, outside here. Like, do not draw anything outside the boxes. You have to stick within the parameters I've already set for the drawing. Okay. I have some samples here that I can reference as well as I'm drawing if I want to see like how I organize things or how I note them, like potentially like the final outcome that I want to get to is something like this, because this is how our CAD drawing would look like if we're producing design drawings. Okay, and this is like the breakdown of the layers and how things look like, and pretty much that. All right, so let's start here. So in this area, I like to draw like a plot plan or the site plan, and then here within these boxes, I try to work on elevations or interior elevations or more details. Usually we place details here, but I'm not going to be covering anything about using architectural details, potentially in a future video. And potentially in an updated template. But for now, I'm going to start. So one of the first things I do when I want to start my drawing is I always make sure I'm using the correct layer. So in this case, I like to start my design using walls. So in this case, I have here two layers. I have walls existing and walls new. We can start with new, to represent that. I'm going to actually just use the green because I'm used to look at the green. So I will follow what I usually use. All right. Now, when I'm drawing, I'm always using the polyline command. I never use the line command. It's just easier, and you will see potentially at some points why it's worth it versus using the line command. So I'll do polyline, and then anywhere here is fine. I'm gonna click somewhere, and then I'm gonna type. Let's say I want to design something that is 30 feet by 20 feet. Okay, and I will modify the design as I go to my liking. So you will see how things go. So this is 30 feet. And then to the last point, I'll just type C to close the geometry, and that will close the polyline. Now I like to already use dimensions so I see how things are developing in my drawing or in my design. So I will actually type D to start the design command or the dimension command. Oh, I don't have the shortcut set up. So I'll actually set it up right now. So let's do alias edit. So that's how you edit the shortcut. You'll get this window in AutoCAD Mac. There's something similar in the Windows version, but it's a little more complicated for customizing the window if you're on the light version. But anyway, from here I'm gonna customize the dimension linear, which is this command, which is the dimension command I like to use. There are other dimension commands. This is the only one I personally use for 90% of the time. So there's a shortcut for it, which is DLI. I just like to make it the letter D, but before I do that, I need to find whatever command is using the shortcut D, which is dimension style, okay? And that will open the dimension style manager. I'm gonna hit the minus on it to take out the shortcut, and then I'm gonna go back to dimension linear, and then I think I can customize it. Yeah, I'm gonna do edit, and I'm just gonna make this into the letter D. I'm gonna hit apply. And then now when I type D, you will see it will actually go directly to the dimension linear, and I will do this dimension. Okay, now this dimension style that you're looking at, that's not the one I wanted to use. So in this case, I'm just going to go and switch to the one that I would like to use. So I will go to, I believe, format, dimension style, and then from here I will just switch to this one, and I'm gonna make it the current, and you'll see the difference between them. So I'm gonna type D again, start the dimension command because I customized it, and here we go. We have 30 feet. This is what we did. Okay, you can see this is a custom dimension style. It has the wording property line. I use it if I'm drawing a plot plan or a site plan, and this is like how things kind of look like, but that's potentially for another video, and I won't be talking about that for now. Now, if you notice, the dimension came out pretty nice, and I want to I want to highlight why it has the symbol on it. It means this dimension is annotative. And what does that mean? I'm going to talk about this very briefly. I'll expand on it potentially in a future video. But basically, if you look at the bottom right, the current annotation scale for this drawing is set at 1/4 inch. What does that mean? Because I'm using an annotative dimension style, it's actually scaling it properly to match this scale. So if I switch this to 1/8, okay, and now I'm going to do another dimension again on top of it, you will see the text comes out bigger. Okay, so it's automatically scaling it. Let's say I switch to another scale, okay, to the 1/16. I do dimension, the text is going to be double the size now, and even the text on the side. So this is something that I've already set up. It's called annotative feature of AutoCAD. It allows you to automatically scale your dimensions based on the annotative scale that you have at the bottom. We use this within the model space, okay, and that's where it's going to work, and it's going to be really handy. This is one of the ways to work with dimensions, but again, the purpose of this video is literally to show you how I personally work and how I taught my team to work and use our drawings, okay? So now we'll switch back to 1/4 inch because when I draw floor plans, I'm always working in the 1/4 inch scale because this is kind of the standard in the industry that floor plans are always drawn in a 1/4 inch scale. If the floor plan is too big, you can use a different scale to accommodate, but for the most part, the easiest scale to read on a construction site is really the 1/4 inch scale, and you do your drawings at the end of the day because you're going to send this to people to build the building, and you want to make sure that your notes, your drawings are easy to check by the city, by a plan checker, by another engineer or another design professional, and also by the builder on site. So you want to remember this, as the purpose of your drawings. Make it easy for everyone. Now, back to our drawing, I've put the dimensions, I explained about scaling, so we can continue. Now I will do a little offset. I will do 6 inches, okay, and I'll offset to the inside. Now I'm gonna use the ray command. So the ray command is a semi-infinite line, and you'll see in a second how it looks like. I'm gonna extend from here. I'm gonna reference that point, 5 inches. And if I zoom out, you will see the ray is literally, as much as you zoom, it's literally an infinite line. That's the logic of it in AutoCAD. This ray command is pretty handy for designing purposes and, getting a layout of what you're doing. And you'll see in a bit how I use it. Now, I've already created it, so I did it 5 feet away from the wall, from the exterior. I do want to copy it, but before I copy it, I think I'm going to switch its layer. I'm going to use something called hidden, so that will make it yellow. Let me check my annotation library. I think it's best to use, I want the center. So I want to use the layer that's called center, a center, because it will show me. I'll switch the layer for this ray, where center should be on the top. Here you go. It's just because it makes it easier to look at. And anyway, I'm going to delete them after. These rays that I'm going to create are literally just for reference purposes. And you will see, like, let's say I offset this by 5 feet. At this point, I'm creating a grid, okay? And when you're designing, you kind of want to follow a grid. You don't want to just do stuff, with no guide, basically. So I would do that. And then the same, 5 feet here, like, okay, so this is like a purpose of ray. You can use it. You can also use the grid within AutoCAD, but I don't use it. I like to use these guys and then, get rid of them when their purpose is done. All right. Now, before I continue, I'm not going to use this many. I just want to show you that you can go this far with them. For now, I'm going to stick with the one that I'm trying to work with. I'm going to try to plan my floor plan. So I'm planning to use this portion as like a bedroom, bathroom, and a laundry room potentially. I'll have here a kitchen and a living, and you'll see how things develop. But I'm just trying to decide layout wise, using a rectangle, where things are gonna fall roughly. Okay, so this is like something like this, something like this. This is gonna be the bathroom, the bedroom, and then the kitchen potentially in this area, maybe dining within this corner. So this is kind of the ratio of how things are going to look like. Can make it smaller. I'll make small adjustments as we go to make the design work better, but for the most part, this is where I'm heading with this. I'm going to use the match command, match properties command, so I can keep these boxes as references here as well, and I'll continue with the ray command. Okay, so I'm going to do another ray. So let's say I'll do ray from this corner. I'm going to go out 14 feet. Okay, so this is 14 feet. I'm gonna match it, so this is like this. I like to always add dimensions as I'm working, so I see how things look like. Okay, so this is 5 feet, 9 feet. I will use the stretch command to stretch this dimension up like this, and I'll actually use it again to stretch all of these up. Okay, and then this is pretty good. I'm gonna take a moment now to save this drawing. All right, back to the video. So I saved the file. Every now and then I'm gonna save the drawing to make sure I'm not losing progress. Because at this point, this is pretty good progress for me. So every 5 to 10 minutes I would save the drawing, and as I progress. All right. So now we continue. So we have 14 feet, 5, 9. This is kind of the breakdown of how the rooms are looking like. I think this is pretty good. And then on the opposite direction, let's say I want to have another ray here. So I'm gonna get rid of these boxes now, and I'm gonna stick to the rays. I have the layout in my head personally, so I should be fine to follow without them for now. And anyway, I will use new ones using match properties to match with the original. So this is 6 feet, and then that will give us the rest. It's gonna be 14. Okay, and then now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a polyline, right? I'm gonna go from here to here, and this is gonna be like my first interior wall. I'm gonna do another polyline. I'm gonna go out by 5 inches for interior walls. I like to draw them that way. Some people like to be much more accurate and do 4.5 or 5.5 depending on finishes. I personally think you don't want to go this crazy when you're designing. You're trying to just get this going, right? I'd rather offset actually, just to make it easier for me. So I'm just gonna do like this. And then I'm gonna do a polyline, gonna extend from here to here. And then I'm gonna trim this portion, and then I'm gonna extend this portion, and this goes all the way. Okay, so this is good so far. I'll do another polyline here. I'll offset it 5 inches to the inside. And then here I wanna look at the interior dimensions, okay? So 4, 6, then what do we have here? So 8, 7. So I'm gonna get rid of these guys. I'm gonna focus on the interior dimensions now, and I'll leave the rest for exterior. So in this, the way I'm imagining this is I want the laundry to be in this portion, the bathroom in this portion, kind of give access through the laundry. And you'll see how this looks like in a second. So what I will do, I'll actually get rid of this. So now that I have everything for the most part laid out with the dimension, I can modify this using the stretch command. So I'm gonna select this portion with the dimensions, the walls. The ray will not be affected by what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna hit enter or return. And then here I'm gonna stretch it. We had 4, 6, so I'm gonna stretch it to the left 3 feet. So that gives us a clear 7 feet 6 on the interior here. Let's say I stretch it 6 inches more. That will give us 8 feet clear. Okay. Now if I want to make this room bigger or the laundry bigger a little bit, I can literally stretch this whole area here another 6 inches. And now we have 14.6 here, and then this dimension, if we define it so we see the interior dimensions, this will make it. I'm gonna modify this one too, so I see my interior dimensions. I'm gonna focus more as I start detailing the interior side of the building or the floor plan. The focus shifts to really looking at things how they look like on the inside. So the same thing. I'm gonna drag this from this point, stretch it out. Have 5, 6, and same. We want to see the bedroom clear size. And I think things are looking good now. So I will hit save again. I do Command S for saving, and we can continue with this. All right. So now that I have these, I'm gonna get rid of the rest of the rays. I will do some cleaning. I will get rid of this portion, just so I can have clean wall lines. And you'll see in a bit when we start hatching the walls, like why this is going to be handy to clean things and make it easy. And then what I will do, I'll select everything and I will join them. So now this is like a single polyline, So I like how things are looking right now. And then now I'm going to proceed to adding the openings. Now, to add the openings, I like to make the entry a little more special. So in this case, I'm going to do like an extrusion here, maybe a 5 foot. So I'll actually reference the middle point from here. In case you're wondering how to reference the middle point, it's because of the drafting settings that I have active here on the bottom. You want to make sure object snap is active. You right click and you want to make sure these settings are active. Make sure you're not using tangent or nearest. Well, tangent is fine, but do not use nearest. It's literally going to snap to everything. You can try it and you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, as long as you make sure these settings are active, for the most part, if you know everything I'm talking about, you should be able to follow the process. Otherwise, you can ask questions and I'll try my best to answer them. All right, so now that we have this in the middle, this line, I think I did 5 feet, so I'm going to do dimension. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to offset it up by, let's do 4 feet to the top and then 4 feet to the bottom. And then I will connect them like this. I'll get rid of this one and then I'll join these guys. So now they're a polyline. And now when I offset them 6 inches to the inside, they're going to look something like this. Now I'm going to extend this line right here. And we're going to get something like this. Here's a trim. I'm going to trim these portions, this portion, and then this should be clean. I can just join all of them again. Okay, so this is looking great so far. I'll add more dimensions just so I start seeing like how things are looking like. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm adding more dimensions using the D shortcut. So basically, if you hit enter or return, it will actually repeat the last command. So that's why I'm able to quickly repeat all of these commands without starting the command again. Then I'll do the same here. Just make sure to document those portion. Now slide it up. And then, if you want to be precise, kind of want to give the overall. So you see how I stack the dimensions. You have the longest, then a breakdown, then another breakdown, and then even further breakdown, depending on the interior layout. Okay, that's my method. There's a million ways to do things. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you understand what you're doing. And then when you share it with other professionals, you want, your client to understand what you're doing and for them to be easy, to read your drawings, right? So this is good. Another save. And now we proceed to openings. So for openings, if you notice so far, I've been sticking to the walls layer, the dimensions, because of their styling. Okay, there's a setting actually. If I select the dimensions, you will see that they're automatically going to this particular layer, which is annotation, dims. And if I quickly reference the layering system here that I have, you will see that I have, so this is annotation, and then I think I have another one for dimensions. I think I never added it to the library. So let's say I add it to the library. I add the layer. I decided that we need one more layer to use for our drawing. You don't want to create a million layers. You really want to fight to keep them at a minimum. You don't want to go crazy. Okay. So I'll switch this layer to annotation dims, and then I'll note it here and say that this is a, annotations, ANNO for annotations, and then dims. That's the name of the layer. And I have it here, and this is good to go, and another save. Technically, I should update this within the template, so I'll actually do that. I'm going to do Command C. I actually have the template open here just in case I want to update things as I go. So let's do this again. So I'm going to do Command Shift copy, which allows me to copy based on a base point. And then I'm going to go to this drawing. I'm going to do Command V. And this allows me, because of the way I did the copying, to place this exactly based on how it was in this drawing. Okay, so if I click here, I have this annotation dims, so this is good. I will save my template as well. So now the template is updated, and then I can continue with my design drawing back to here.